Hello and welcome to another edition of the Sports Heads, the Hurry Up. Now we've got a special Sports Heads Super Bowl edition today. Now I'm very excited, but also sad because obviously it means it's the last game of the season. But before I start moaning and whining, I'll say hello to my friends, my buddies, my amigos, my pals, Sam Morgan, Daniel Falui. How are you guys?
A bit like you, excited, but also sad last week before the break.
Dan?
Yeah, mate. You know what it is? I know what people are saying is mixed emotions, but I'm excited. It is Super Bowl week. It's going to be a great matchup between two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I'm excited, mate. You know what I mean? You got to take the little wins. We're still in lockdown in London, so take the little wins.
We got to choose our sports to watch after this. I'll tell you. But in the meantime, I'm going to speak to my mate, my pal, my buddy, my bestie, Hannah Wilkes. How are you?
I'm the same as you guys. I'm really excited for the Super Bowl, but I really don't want the season to end. Next Friday, netball's starting on Sky Sports. We've got every game of the Super League season live, so that'll keep me entertained. Jump on that. Jump on it.
I need a team to support. Now, I know you, Hannah, have to be impartial somewhat, but you can give me a selection of teams. You can inbox me a selection of teams that you think are worth following, because I need sports.
There's a new team in the Super League this year, so I'd get behind Leeds Rhinos because they're brand new. So why not?
That is true. That is true. All right. Okay, Leeds Rhinos, you have yourself a fan, and I'll be watching you because I can't watch NBA too much because it drives me mad. Too much LeBron news. Yes, I'm a hater, and no, I don't care. Guys, there's been some obviously big news before we start going into the preview of of the Super Bowl. Now there's a huge trade. We was obviously speaking about it last week when when Dan was getting quite reckless, saying bad things about Matthew Stafford, comparing him to Jay Cutler, which is still disgraceful, and my mouth is still open in shock. Now, Hannah, this is your team, your beat. So what's your view on this Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford trade? Do you guys think you gave too much? What's your whole view about the whole thing?
Well, I did keep my mouth very quiet, didn't I, when Dan was talking about Matt Stafford last week?
Yeah, you're pretty quiet.
I'm not going to say anything.
You just sit there like this.
So, I mean, I was in shock on Sunday morning. I was like, what? Because even this time last week, it was that there was going to be a QB competition between Jared Goff and John Wolford. And I was like, that sounds exciting. Yeah, let's do that. So the fact that this has all happened so quickly was a little bit like, okay. I think the question as to whether it's cost too much, when you pay someone the contract you pay Jared Goff, to get rid of him is going to cost you a lot of money because they gave him a whopping great contract. And I think that's what basically what it costs to get rid of it. And I think it's a big statement from the Rams in that they know they got that wrong. And also they want to win, and they want to win now. And you look at the Rams this season, the quarterback position was the one that has Rams fans kind of watching like from behind their hands when it's big plays, because you just never knew what was going to happen on 3rd and 7, which is not a good place to be. So I think I'm excited by it. I hope this is the right piece. We talked before with all the Deshaun Watson stuff, and I was like, come on, Watson to the Rams. But interestingly, I think they don't want a huge departure from the scheme they're currently running, because there's this word on the street as well that, they talked to the Packers about Aaron Rodgers and got shut down. So they're not looking for that total dual threat quarterback, but they just want something a bit more. I think that's what you get with Matt Stafford, and he's got that big arm. He's got a lot more mobility. There's that clip doing the rounds from a couple of years ago of him against the Browns when he was getting himself out all sorts of trouble, which is not something Rams fans have seen from their quarterback. So yeah, it's surprising. I'm with Aaron Donald, who was also shocked. But I think I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a big statement of intent, and we'll just have to wait and see. Might be in a very good mood this time next year.
Now, you said a lot of words there, but what I want to try to press you on is that, what was your initial feeling? Was you like, yes?
Oh, I was completely shocked. No, my initial feeling, I sent a text message to someone, and I went through the emoji phases. I was open mouth emoji, and I was thinking face emoji, and then I was like, I think I'm almost getting to the party blower emoji. I was completely shocked because from what I've seen of the Lions over the last few years, I was like, is this an upgrade? And Matt Stafford has not had any help, and he's got them to the playoffs a couple of times. It's all been on him. So it's been really hard to judge, but I think as I settle into it, the better I feel about it.
You see, I've always been a Matthew Stafford fan. I'm rooting for him, unlike some people, but we'll get to Dan later. Sam, what's your take on it?
I think it's a good move. As from last week, I actually rate Matt Stafford. I think he's actually going to be and suit them, I suppose, going forward. And like you said, he hasn't had the best sort of weapons to work with. And now, working with Sean McVay as well, I think will go down quite well down in LA. However, you also need to look at the underlying piece here. And to be honest, me and Dan had this conversation off air about the picks. And I think you're going to see this sort of now going forward, where there's not going to be potentially no preseason, less snaps, obviously, to see rookie, to see people coming in from the draft, that the picks don't actually mean that much now. So you can give away sort of those first and second rounds potentially if you're not up in the probably sort of top 5 or 10. So that's actually a good deal, I think, that the Rams have picked up an established QB, and they wouldn't have probably been able to replace him in the draft.
And if you think as well, when it comes to those picks conversation, picks are all well and good if you are a Detroit Lions and you're at the beginning of sort of a rebuild. You look at everyone else that the Rams has got on that roster. Picks aren't that valuable when you've got Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey in their best years. You've got Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods picking up yards after the catch, and all the pieces are there for the offense if they have the right quarterback. And you think picks aren't going to help them in the next few years because they are in that sort of Super Bowl contention period and they need to make it count now. So, we have 3-4 good years and then a dry spell, but you get a couple of Super Bowls in that time. Who cares? And you look at as what the Rams can have done and have been able to do with later draft round picks and free agents. You look at that Rams team at the moment, so much of that is talent that they've got later draft rounds. They've found them in free agency. And they're really strong at developing talent as an organization. So I don't think it's too much of a concern.
No, it works for both. It works for both parties. I think everyone should be happy with this one. Anyone? No, Daniel's waiting.
Let's keep talking.
It's a sunny day at the beach. We're all having fun. The picnic's out. We're throwing the ball out. We're all having fun. And here comes the storm. Dan, take it away.
Look at that face.
Mate, there's no storm. I don't know what you mean. Well, first of all, let me correct Sam in one thing. The dude said Matt Stafford has not had any weapons. Can we not pretend like Matt Stafford did not have arguably the most talented receiver ever to grace the NFL, Megatron?
One. That's one guy.
Megatron is Megatron. I'm sorry. Megatron is still Megatron. He's still physically the most dominant wide receiver I have ever seen. No one is built like him.
You can't win football games with 2 players, though, can you? He's had
decent running backs. He's had decent weapons on offense. Let's not pretend like he's not. He's had Dominic Nsoon on the defense as well. So he's had some defense that's been okay. And in the time with Jim Caldwell, yes, they've gone to the playoffs twice. Yes, they didn't win anything. But Matt Stafford's record against the Bears and the Vikings is a losing record. And they are the Vikings and the Bears. And the Bears haven't had a competent quarterback ever. It doesn't matter. Deshaun's playing for Houston doesn't mean he still can't beat teams. He still beats the Patriots when he's playing for a sad organization. You know what I mean? So let's not pretend like it's he's stopped. Look, I think he's a talented quarterback. I don't think he has that it factor to win you games. That's just my opinion.
You're just a Seahawks fan that's annoyed the Rams have had an upgrade and are going to make your life a little bit harder again.
Sounds to me.
But not really. I'm not that fussed, to be fair. And I think our defense will suss out Matt Stafford. But that being said, we're going back to the Rams. I think it's an indictment of Jared Goff, because when you think about it, the Rams have traded and they've got a dead cap space, dead cap hit of over 20 million. And I think that's the highest in NFL history. So it really, really must mean that they don't like Jared Goff. Do I think Matt Stafford is the best available upgrade? It is what it is, but he is 32. He's had a prone of injuries. Yes, he's quite sustainable and plays games, but do I think Matt Stafford is your long-term solution? No. I do understand that they're in a win mode now because they're the highest number 1 ranking defense in terms of scoring defense. They've got Jalen Ramsey, they've got Aaron Donald, they've got beast all over the place on defense. But I don't know. I think Stafford could be the missing piece for them to win a Super Bowl. Yes. I don't know if him as an individual, I would bank my hopes on as a franchise.
I have one more thing to say, and this is not actually about the Stafford thing. It's actually, Dre, thank you. When you hooked me up with my Rams jersey with my name on the back, thank you for not making it a 16. Thank you for getting me a Cooper Cup number 10.
I saw that coming. That's for damn sure. We all saw that one coming. Yeah, we knew that something was going to happen. I actually didn't expect them to move so quick, but like, you know, I definitely knew that his end of his time was coming. I really do still rate Stafford. How do you think you guys, just quickly, how do you think he's going to get on it in Detroit?
I think, do you know what? I think Jared Goff himself has put out a statement saying he's looking forward to playing for a team and where they're excited to have him. And I think he's probably going into it knowing that he's not going to be their starting QB for years and years and years to come, because they're going to use those draft picks to get the best available talent over the next few years. But I think he'll have a good time. Why not? Like, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll do decent. The thing is, Jared Goff is a very serviceable quarterback. He is not a bad player. He's just not perhaps lived up to that first round pick hype. And I think the first round pick is like a poison chalice, especially at the quarterback position. I really do. And he's a very stand-up guy. He's a very decent guy. There's one thing that I think gets overlooked, and actually Melissa Whitworth, Andrew Whitworth's wife, pointed this out on social media this week. Like, he is a stand-up guy. He queued at a pet shop with their son when his fish died. Like, he puts a lot into the community and he cares. And I think he has been very harshly treated a lot of the time by people in football media. Like, he's not a bad player. He's just not perhaps an elite quarterback. And there's nothing wrong with not being a quarterback. It takes a lot to get into the National Football League to begin with. And I think he'll do all right with the Lions.
Not everyone can be Danny Dimes. You know, it's not everyone can be that.
No, you're not allowed to talk about QBs, but I think Goff will be all right. I agree with everything you probably say there, Hannah, except for maybe being long term. He's 26 years old. Mm-hmm. He has taken the Rams to places that the Lions don't get to on a consistent basis. That I actually think that he might actually look at this and go, actually, whilst we've got to pay for what we've got to pay for in Goff, use those picks to actually put people around him. And then whilst people might actually be going for other QBs right now, because there's a million other teams that need some QBs, let's be honest, that actually, why waste that pick right now and actually use those picks to give him those weapons? Because you know what
he could do. A Tannehill, right? He could do a Tannehill. The Dolphins were like, bye, see us. Don't keep in touch. And look what he's at the Titans. So.
Oh no!
But he has Derrick Henry. He has Derrick Henry. So let's not forget that.
It's not. I don't know, because I think one thing we're forgetting is Sean McVay is an offensive genius. He's probably one of the most sharpest minds in the NFL when it comes to offense. So the fact that he wants to leave Jared Goff means, to me personally, I don't think we're going to see as good of a Jared Goff at the Rams that we are at the Lions. Remember Jared Goff when he was with Jeff Fisher? You know, no one was like, Jared Goff is a competent quarterback. Everyone was like, yeah, I don't think he's got it. He's going to be a washout. Then Sean McVay comes in, he gets to the Super Bowl. Everyone's like, no, he's a competent quarterback. And now even Sean McVay's like, I don't want him. I think we're going to start to see it. We're going to see a Goff, no matter what weapons you surround him, you're going to see a Goff of Jeff Fisher's days. But maybe, I think it's going to be a mix between Jeff Fisher's and Sean McVay. I don't think he's going to be right there. But I think Jared Goff's probably going to get, double-digit interceptions. He's probably going to be, end the season, I reckon, on maybe I'll say maybe 22 touchdowns, 14 picks, something around that.
I think he's going to get more responsibility. Listening to Jared Goff, Sean McVay's in his ear to the very last second. And no matter who you are, you got to remember that you're trying to make a decision. You can see something that's directly in front of you. You've got a coach that's got a different angle, telling you something potentially completely different. I think Jared Goff will be given more responsibility at the Lions for him to make those decisions. I think when you look at some of the mistakes he's made, it is where there's this confusion between the two of them. There's been penalties, again, because between the two of them, they're not paying attention. So he might actually be given that responsibility that you'll see the best Jared Goff. I get Sean McVay is a genius, don't get me wrong, but he's also got to dumb it down a little bit and go, actually, I need to give the responsibility to the QB when he's on the field.
I wish him nothing but good things.
See, this is what I like to see. A nice send-off for Jared Goff, and thank you, Hannah, for picking up my mistake with the names. Respect, you always got my back. No, I said Stafford instead of Goff earlier on, and you picked it up and you ran with it. I appreciate that. You did. See, you got my back. You didn't even realize. I appreciate that.
Maybe I'm just not listening. I'm just talking.
Before we get going on some of the actual preview or our preview and views on who's going to win, and all dissecting every aspect of this Super Bowl clash coming up, we just going to click over to JJ Watt and Harry Kane on speaking about fan culture, with the difference between UK fans and American fans, all of those types of things. So have a look and see what they're saying here.
People give me stick all the time because I started watching the Premier League probably 7 or 8 years ago, and the first team I ever started watching was Chelsea, and I literally just started watching them. Over there, it's so intense and loyal and passionate, and that's what I respect about it. But people are like, you can't hang out with Harry Kane. You started watching Chelsea, and I was like, well, if Harry Kane calls me, I'm gonna go hang out with Harry Kane. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I feel like in the US is a little bit more laid back in terms of kind of just supporting maybe the players or supporting whatever team's doing well. But over here in the UK, yeah, if you're talking to rival players or things like that, the fans don't like it. So no, I guess that's a fun experience for you.
It's so fun for me to watch the Premier League and learn all these new teams and these new traditions. And over here, there's obviously, it's very commercialized in that you got the cheerleaders, you got a halftime show, you got the video boards playing commercials between plays. And I went over there, and I remember the one thing I stood away from the game was, it's so centralized on the game, and the fans are so knowledgeable, and they're so passionate. I thought that was so cool.
I think the big difference as well is obviously when you come and watch a game over here, the fans are separated as well. So you've got the away fans and then you've got the home fans. Whereas from what I've been told, kind of the fans kind of sit together and they kind of just get on with it like that. But I couldn't imagine that over here. There'd be too many people getting chucked out the stadium.
Yeah. We had 1 year. So I grew up in Wisconsin, which is where the Packers are from. And but my second year in the league, we played against the Packers here in Houston. And I brought down like 15 or 20 family members for the game and friends. And they're sitting in the family and friends section of me, the Texans. So they're all wearing Texans gear and everything. But one friend, he was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. He's like, I'm not gonna not wear my Packers jersey to a Packers game. So he wore a Packers jersey sitting next to the family and friends of all the Texans players. And he's never been allowed to Houston since.
Yeah, no, you should have kicked him out. You should have said he can't go.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's like that concept over there is so wild because it's also cool that obviously if you're away after a goal, you know exactly where to go to celebrate that goal because all your people are right there. It's special.
No, 100%.
Okay, let's get to it. It's time. We've been trying to delay this because obviously it's going to be the last game of the season. We didn't really want to talk about the Super Bowl too much, but nonetheless, we have to because that's all we have left. So let's go into who do you guys think has the better weapons out of the Bucs and the Chiefs? Obviously both of them are stacked offensively, but I'm going to start off with Dan. Who do you feel that at the moment, just right now, here now, would you think that has got the better offense out of the two?
Better offense is different. I think better weapons. I'll go with better weapons, and I think overall as a set, I'll say Tampa Bay. And the reason why I'll say Tampa Bay and give the edge to Tampa Bay is because they still have a running game. They still have Leonard Fournette. They still got Jones in the backfield. So they've got two competent, really good running backs, top 20 running backs in the league. With Kansas, you don't know what you're getting with Lev Bell. He hasn't really been productive. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's not really gonna get like he can get you a couple of yards chunk plays, but in the red zone he's not really that efficient, and that's the problem. In the red zone, you're really counting on your Kelce's and your cheaters, Tyreek Hill, and so forth. So that's where I'll probably put it the edge because wide receivers, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, solid. Gronk's not of Gronk before, but they still got Antonio Bell if he's not injured. Scotty Miller can get some chunk yards on third down. So they've got competent wide receivers. I just think, and the line is great. I think the line's only really given up. The line haven't really given up too much sacks for Brady. So when you look at it, they do match pretty well. It's just the running backs for me, and it's just Kansas don't have running backs, and for that reason, as a whole unit, I'll go give it to Tampa.
And Sam?
I'm actually, for an offensive side of things, I think the Chiefs, for me. I know you're saying about the running game. Interestingly, when they met in the regular season, the Chiefs outrushed the Bucs in that game. It was very tight. Let's have that excitement that we're gonna have a tight game. That's for sure. What I would say is that if you're gonna put on offense versus offense, I'll go down the Chiefs. I do agree with you, Dan. Though, as a collective whole package, though, I would probably take that Bucs team. But I just think the Bucs defense will have their work cut out, and I think it will be them that wins the Super Bowl if they're going to win it. The Bucs, I think it's got to come down to them. I know it's pretty obvious about saying outscoring someone. However, I'm just saying you've got to shut down Mahomes, Cheetah. Even if they go down the running game side of things, they still look at short games with Kelce and the run after the catch with him. It's just too much for me for Bucs to be worrying about, and they got the job done last time. So unless they start bringing the heat and can sort of rustle Mahomes up a little bit, I just think collectively on the offensive side, as I say, the Chiefs will have too much.
Hannah?
I am somewhere between the two of you. I think I agree with Dan. If I look at the whole roster and take defense into account, then I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the more complete team, especially, when you look at what their defense did against the Packers. I thought they were out of this world phenomenal. If we're just talking offense, though, and I say taking into account Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, Leonard Fournette, who has been carrying the Bucs run game this postseason in a way that I wish he'd been doing in the fantasy football season. But I look at the Chiefs side and I think there are problems everywhere. You've got Patrick Mahomes. He can make magic happen on every single play. Why? Also, by the way, why is he not Patrick Magic Mahomes yet? Can I just why is that not?
I think he's got a different nickname.
My homeboy.
Yeah. I just think the Magic Mahomes. Anyway, that's just me. Side note. But then you look Tyreek Hill, McCall Hardman, Sammy Watkins is your third receiver, and he's got speed of God knows what. Travis Kelce is a problem. No matter how you are using him as a tight end, that man is a problem. It doesn't matter what he's doing, where he's lining up. And it's basically impossible to defend, because if you go zone, he'll find the gaps. If you go man, it's going to take two, and then that's going to mean that someone else is free, because you can only, two-man cover a couple of guys at once. So I think the Chiefs' offense is more deadly. On paper, weapons-wise, they're probably fairly matched, but the Chiefs are just that bit more deadly on offense.
So just on this, obviously, you just mentioned Tyreek Hill, how valuable he is. There's a school of thought that Travis Kelce is just as important. But if you guys had to choose, who is the more valuable out of the two? I'll start with Dan.
Mate, this is a hard one, because it's basically you've either got cuts by 1,000, death by 1,000 cuts, or you got basically jackhammer that bludgeons you, and the jackhammer that bludgeons you is basically Tyreek Hill, because he will just blitz through you. Like, if you are not careful, this guy will run past you. I don't think people realize how fast this man is with pads, and he will just take the top off you. And so you have to account for that and the deep threat that is. And because Patrick Mahomes only needs 5 seconds, and he's throwing the ball 50 yards. But then the problem is Travis Kelce. I think he leads the league in first down receptions. So you got to think about a tight end who basically has the wiggle room and the shiftiness of sort of a Larry Fitzgerald Hall of Famer wide receiver. I don't know if I can even call Travis Kelce a tight end anymore. He's probably a receiver. He's just got the wiggle room, and he's got that swag of a wide receiver. But he can also get you first, second, third downs easily, and his route running is probably the best in the league. So, who's more valuable? I think they're equally just as valuable. Mate, speed kills in the NFL. So I'll have to probably use a Tyreek for that reason, and that reason alone.
Sam?
Dan's probably touched on everything you need to hear about the two of them, but I would go with Kelce, because I tell you what, watching a lot of the tape, what he does off the field, I think, who was it? Who had the fumble? Was it Hardman? I think had the fumble. Watch, please, if you haven't seen it, everyone go and watch what Travis Kelce went and done with him. And I'm telling you, Travis Kelce takes some of that responsibility for what he then done to get Hardman up and running again to turn that game on its head. That's the only thing I would say that Travis Kelce has that maybe not. And Tyreek Hill does it, just not to the same value as Travis Kelce. Go and watch him. He is a leader out there. And I think that's something that you can bring. And that's probably why it does actually get your first, second, third, fourth downs when they need it, because he will take that responsibility on. So if I had to pick one of them, it's hard. And I'd be quite happy that I could choose either of them. But I'll take Kelce just to give us that little extra bit off the field as well.
You've got one each. Hannah, who you got?
I mean, you guys have both covered everything, and it's impossible. I think Tyreek Hill is impossible to defend because of his just sheer speed. If he's got even an inch of open field, you are in trouble. But that said, with what I said before, I think Kelce is more of a problem, because however you try and stop Kelce, defend against Kelce, means that you're going to make yourself vulnerable elsewhere in the field. For the likes of a Tyreek Hill, but they don't even need someone of Tyreek Hill's speed if you've got most of your defense going up against Kelce. I just think he has redefined what a tight end is, and it's such an interesting matchup, isn't it, with tight ends? You've got like Gronk and Kelce, and you've got Gronk, who's this like beast, can make the big catches, isn't very fast off the mark anymore, but has been blocking really well throughout this season, particularly the playoffs. And then you've got the Kelce version of the tight end, who is, like Dan said, basically a wide receiver, but with added muscle, and you can literally put him anywhere. I lean Kelce just because he's more of a problem. But I wouldn't want to have to try and stop Tyreek Hill ever, or even get near him whilst running. I wouldn't.
Well, just quickly before we go to our next section, Scotty Miller has been talking quite recklessly and saying that he could beat Tyreek Hill in a race. Like, just quickly, what's your thoughts on that? Start with Sam.
Really?
He seems quite certain, and he is quite fast.
Right. He needs to put down the Fruit Loops in the morning, because that's what he must have had a bowl of. All that sugar got to his head. There is no. No, I'd love to see it. And I bet you by the time he got halfway out the field, Cheetah's coming back. So no, not having it.
Dan?
Mate, I don't know why he made that comment like that, because Cheetah could probably take that. He would probably take that as a slight on him. And also, Scotty Miller, what are you talking about, mate? If you're on a moped, maybe you can catch up with him. But you ain't catching up with him with just pure running. Again, I don't think people realize how fast this dude ran 4.2. I don't think people realize how quick this dude is. He was what? I think if he didn't just do football, he would actually be in the Olympics track team. Yeah. That's how fast he is.
I was actually going to make that point. So Tyreek Hill's 40-yard dash time was 4.29 seconds. Usain Bolt, when he did it at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, was 4.22. That's how fast Tyreek Hill is. He is 7/100ths of a second slower than Usain Bolt, which is like, I can't even blink that fast, I don't think. I don't know. So Scotty Miller, love it. Love those sort of mind games, but sit down. Stay in that locker room at halftime. Bruce Arians does not want you running a race against Tyreek Hill at halftime with the Super Bowl. You've got other stuff to do. Focus on your game.
It feels very much Juju Schuster-Smith-ish, talking before the actual game and giving people extra fuel that you don't actually need to do, because, like, you don't give them any form of fuel in any way. But before we get going, because I'm going to ask these guys for their picks. There's been a lot of analysis, a lot of words, a lot of niceties, but I want you guys to be able to put your neck in a line and give me a prediction of who's going to win and why. But before you do it, we spoke to Jenna Harner from WPXI during the week, and she's going to give her take on who is going to win.
As someone who grew up watching Tom Brady, like, this is what he does. It was funny. Everybody seemed kind of surprised, like, oh, he's still doing this. Like, he's still leading his 2-minute drills. I'm like, this is vintage. This is textbook Tom Brady. This is who he is. This is what he lives for, and how he, like, what he does on a, weekly basis. I'm like, have you not been watching him? Have people not been paying attention to the Bucs? I don't know. I'm going with the Chiefs just because I think that Mahomes and what he can do is fantastic. But again, if you get Brady in his zone, which I read something yesterday that it's just him in his house. Like his family left his house. It's going to be him by himself for 12 days, the longest he's ever been by himself. I'm like, that almost seems like kind of like unleash the weapon for me. So I don't know. I mean, and it's like, it's already like, he already is who he is. It's just, I hate to say that I'm excited to watch him in this game, but I think now that he's not on the Patriots, you're like, okay, this doesn't feel as evil as it did. So now it's like,
coming from a Giants fan, I'm taking that with a pinch of salt.
That's it. You know, it come down to the crunch time now. You got to give your picks. Hannah's looking kind of nervous. Dan's looking really confident. Sam, I'm not sure. He's looking like he's gonna sit on the fence. But it's time to get off that fence, my friend. Who have you got? I'm gonna go with you, Sam, because you're looking quite nervous.
No, not nervous. I'm actually going with the Chiefs. I've been all in with the Chiefs, and it got even. I went more all in when I listened to Tyreek Hill actually talk about how. Do you know what I felt for every team that's come up against him? How Mahomes comes into the huddle and puts his Kermit voice on, and they're joking halfway through games like it's nothing. It's all fun. It's literally fun and games to these guys. That offense are taking the mick. Like, I can't deal with that. But you got the defense on there in their huddle, sweating. What are they going to come up with? And he's putting on a Kermit voice. You're taking, nah, I'll be going mad. When I heard that, so listen, but I think he's going to go out there and they're going to have some fun with it. Whereas I think the pressure's on the Bucs, like Brady, they're trying to do it for Brady to get him another ring. He's trying to sort of prove that he's come in there to win this. And there was loads of people that obviously said, oh, he's gone to the Bucs, they're going to automatically win the Super Bowl. There was a lot of that talk straight away, like here, hand him the ring. But I think there's a little bit of added pressure more on the Bucs now, I think, to do that and prove their worth that they've got there. I'm not saying Brady's going to retire, but it's coming close. So this is probably a lot of these players in that Bucs teams. This could be their chance to actually get a ring on their finger, or their best chance to get a ring on their finger. There's been pressure on their side. Whereas, as I said to you, the Chiefs just seem so relaxed with it, and the head coach, like Andy, he just seems chilled, and everyone's just going to go into that game. This is nothing to them. It's scary. So yeah, I'm all in with the Chiefs. Scotty Miller will pull a hamstring in the warm up because he'll bottle it, and yeah, Chiefs will win this one. I'm not saying comfortably, but they will win.
Hannah, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Dan, who you got?
I'm going to go with Chiefs. I think because I said it before, pound for pound, I think teams are quite equal. I think quarterback-wise, yes, Mahomes is more talented, but Brady knows how to win, and that counts for a lot in a one-on-one game. I think from a weapons point of view, offensively, they're quite evenly matched. And obviously, I think Kansas City probably have the slight edge on the weapons in that front, but obviously with the running game, I think so. Brady's unbeaten since they've come out from a bye. So Brady's got his stamp on that team. They know how they want him to play. Defensively, I think the Buccaneers are just a tad better than them defensively. And they can put pressure on Mahomes in that respect. But I think it's down to the coaching. And I said it from the get-go. Andy Reid off a bye is incredible. He's got a winning record off the bye. I think he's the better coach than Bruce Arians. I like Bruce Arians, but I think Bruce Arians, if I'm being honest, is a great offensive coordinator. I don't think he's a great head coach. But yeah, when you look at it right now in the situation, I'm going to put coaching in that regards. I think the Chiefs remind me of Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant. That's the best way to describe it. I think they've taken the regular season like they don't care, foot off the gas. I think now you're going to start to see them play serious, because the problem with the Chiefs is they could score 30 in like 2 minutes. That's how scary offensively they are. And I think when you've got that attribute with in my mind, I think the greatest offensive coordinator since Bill Walsh. I think you now have a, offensive mind since Bill Walsh. I think you now probably have a recipe for winning dynasty in the Chiefs.
I know it's come to that time. Now we've stayed off of the Tom Brady, talk, because obviously everyone's killed that to death this week. But obviously we very much know that that's a factor, that his leadership skills, experience, and rings is going to count in this. So, who are you choosing?
I mean, it's so hard, isn't it? It's I think what we know, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be an entertaining game. And everything you guys have just said, I can't disagree with. I'm going for the Bucs though. Because, and I don't think it's not like I'm sat there going, the Bucs have got this, they're going to win. It's more, I would like to see them do it for multiple reasons. It's kind of what you were saying, Sam, that for this Bucs team, it's like do or die. It's now or never. Whereas the Chiefs are way more relaxed because they know they're going to be here or hereabouts for years to come. And personally, I'd like to see a bit of a mix up before we have another dynasty. Bearing in mind, we just got rid of the Patriots. But I do think that whilst, like you were saying, there's all that pressure on the Bucs because it's now. That it can go one of two ways. But from talking to some of the players this week and from what I've seen of what Brady has done to that team, I think he has given them a confidence, given them a belief. And you look at a lot of the games they've won this year, they're games that last year they'd been in a similar situation. They just wouldn't have closed them out. And that's the difference maker of Brady. He gives the team a belief that you can close this out and you're going to get this done. And I love how their defense is playing. I do think that with both their starting tackles out, the Chiefs are a little bit vulnerable on that offensive line, so there is a way to get to Mahomes. And I can't disagree with you. Andy Reid off a bye is absolutely deadly, and there's going to be some absolutely incredible plays. But I just kind of want to see the Bucs do it because we're not going to see someone do this again, what Brady's doing. We're not going to see someone go for a 7th Super Bowl with a second team at the age of 43. And for me, as someone who loves a good story, that appeals to me. So I would like to see the Bucs do it. It's not going to be easy. I don't think it's a given. I think it will literally come down to who's got the ball in their hands, the last possession. I think it's going to be that close. But yeah, I'd like to see the Bucs do it. If it comes down to coaching, then I do think the Chiefs have got the edge. But who knows? I'm more excited about this Super Bowl than I think I have been for any that I have watched. I think it's such an intriguing matchup all over the field. I can't wait.
I was with you. I literally every single time that I bet against Tom Brady, it always comes a cropper, and I don't know why I keep on doing it, but I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go with.
I'm on my own.
I'm gonna have to change my pick now.
Yeah,
I not only picking the Chiefs, I want the Chiefs to win as well because I'm sick of Tom Brady.
Put your money on the Bucs, everyone.
So we haven't got a good record in predictions here, so so who knows? But yeah, I definitely want the Chiefs to win. I really like what they've put together, and I think it's like one of these special teams that you're not going to see for a long time. I've seen Tom Brady's got enough rings, enough for you, off to the sunset. But actually, apparently, he's going to be playing until he's 45. So
well, no, he said originally he said 45, and then this week they were like, "Well, that's 2 years away," and he's like, "Well, I'll see how I feel. I'll know when's the right time." I think he's going to be around for a while yet.
Maybe if he wins this one, maybe he might just call a retirement.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You think he's gonna go one more time?
Oh, he'll be like, "I've got 7. I can do 10."
He'll go till he loses.
Maybe.
I think the thing that the unique thing about Brady is that he doesn't take hits. Like he doesn't take damaging hits. He takes hits, but he doesn't take damaging hits that can end careers or cut lifespan. And that's why you see him prolong his career. And I think, when you look at, I think Mahomes is turning more into a Brady-like of learning when to go down. Yeah. But when you look at like a Russell Wilson, yeah, he slides. But again, Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, they take hits too many times, and that's going to shorten a career. Brady doesn't. He's been behind great offensive lines, and he's pliable. He knows when to go down.
One thing with Brady as well is which I think we often sort of overlook. He's been saying a lot how much he's enjoying playing now that his kids are older and they can enjoy his success because I think there's like the youngest one sort of up to 8 now, so they're much more aware of what's going on, so he's getting even more joy, like a new kind of joy out of it because he can fully share this with his family and give his kids these amazing memories. And I think there's actually quite a lot to be said for that as well, because like you've been doing it 20 years kind of for yourself and for your immediate family and friends, but now if your kids are like, "Oh, I'm watching my dad make history," that's got to be a motivating factor to be like, let's give these kids some more great memories.
Honestly, it's going to be. I'm sad to see it come about. I hate the Super Bowl unless my team's in it because it means that it's the end of the season, and it's so sad because it was getting so good. It's been one of my most enjoyable seasons ever. to be honest with you, which is weird because obviously there's been no fans, but it has not affected the play.
It's given us an escape. I think that's the thing, and that's kind of what I've been dreading. Even this Sunday, I was like, everything I do on a Sunday is geared up to being able to sit down and do nothing but watch TV and watch the game from 5. And this Sunday, I was like, what do I do? What did we do on Sundays until September? And what do we do? What I can't remember. And I think that's why we've all got so much more out of it, because it's been the greatest escape and distraction. And I think we've almost paid more attention than we were, because there's so little going on in our lives that we can literally get into every game and every storyline and be all consumed by it.
Well, Hannah's going to be on hockey. Sam, what you on? Ice hockey?
She's no netball, mate. Netball, mate. Netball.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry, netball. And
ice hockey for me.
You're on ice hockey. Dan, what sport you watching after this?
Mate, I'm probably going to give ice hockey a chance. Actually, to be fair, I got some of my mates that still played, or their brothers played ice hockey. It is an interesting sport. I think it's not televised as much here, but I'm going to give ice hockey a shot. Trying something new. Obviously, you got the NBA as well, but the NBA regular season isn't great until playoffs.
So May,
Everyone
right?
knows that. Yeah, it's not really great until the playoffs, to be fair. So that, yeah.
I'm definitely going to be picking up baseball as well. Anything to oh god, it's such a long way till September. Anyway, I'm not going to depress us on thinking about that. This is the bit I've really been looking forward to as well. We're talking about what you're going to eat during the game. So we're going to go through the menus. These guys are going to tell you what you should be eating in the Super Bowl. Chef Dan is going to probably give you something that no one could cook except for himself. I don't know if I trust whatever Sam's going to come up with. And Hannah's one is going to be meat-free, so...
Not entirely.
Really? All right. I will start off with Sam, because I'm really interested to see what he could come up with cooking.
Oh, okay. So I always prepare jerk wings to start off with. You never go heavy. If you go heavy, you're asleep and you miss the halftime show, and you probably wake up to Tom Brady putting a ring on his finger. That's how. You do
have to be careful. Halftime is the crux, isn't it? Like, halftime can be the killer.
Yeah.
Be alert, people.
You've got to be careful. So I start off with, as I say, with wings, a little bit fiery, just to keep the little excitement going. Then I actually go sweet. I go sweet, and I start going into like a pumpkin pie, just to ease it off, stay light. This is the Canadian coming in now.
Yeah.
We start there. Then second half, this is when I start to go heavy. And as Dan pointed out there, you got to leave this stuff to be going for a little while. So I actually have a bit of brisket on the go, side of mac and cheese, and that will see me through to the end. And then I've got my nice, probably big jug of Coke, or Pepsi, depending on your preference. No advertisement here, just on the side, just to keep that going. And that is me for the Super Bowl.
Dan, Chef Dan.
So I was thinking about this, actually, to be fair, and I thought, you know what? Let's actually incorporate both a veggie and sort of meat incorporation. So basically, homemade pizzas, quite simple, quite easy. Flour, yeast, bit of olive oil, sugar and salt, mix it together, let it puff, and then you got the water as well. Just let it go for a bit, and then just it's fun. It's something that you can do with your other half, with your kids, if you're watching it and staying up to do it.
They should be in bed.
I mean, okay, kids, if they're old enough, okay, I'll say that, dependent. But I mean, it's a Super Bowl, in it, so you got to keep up just a little bit. Late night once in a while is not too bad. So do that with the pizza, and then obviously if you're veggie, you could put a veggie style pizza. If you're meat, you could put meat style. So I think that incorporates both things, and if you want it, you can make it more of a flatbread in that respect. And then buffalo wings. Always put some side of buffalo wings from the side. Try and make your own buffalo sauce. It's quite interesting. It's quite nice. And then you can also temper the sort of the heat of the buffalo sauce for yourself as well. So you have that, and then just finish it off with, if you can't be bothered, if it's too late, cookie dough ice cream, or just some sort of ice cream to just really finish it off for yourself. Nice. And that's a nice meal. Quite simple. It's not too extravagant, and it's easy to do for anyone.
Anna, let's see.
Wow. I mean, these are all good ideas, guys. What I would say is, if you are into the chicken wings and that sort of thing, but you are too lazy to make it yourselves, can I give a shameless plug and shout out to the guys at the Hickory Smokehouse? they're doing a Super Bowl box. They really kindly sent me one. Now I'm a veggie, my other half is not. He has been eating the stuff for 3 days straight and getting meat sweats every day. But apparently it's amazing. It's like chicken wings, they come with a shaker. It's like ribs, and it all comes ready. You literally just have to warm it up, which is super easy for when you're trying to watch the game. Me personally, also the mac and cheese, amazing. For me personally, I think the way I'm going to go is we've got to keep it light, but keep the energy coming in. So I'm a big fan of some nachos, just some tortilla chips, salsa. If you can get chipotle salsa as well, delicious. There's some jalapenos on there, cheese in the grill, and it's just good to pick at. So that's probably how I'll be going through the sort of first half up to halftime, or I might even make it a halftime. I'm also a big fan of a pizza, preferably one delivered to my door, so I don't have to do anything about it. It's just an easy consumable snack throughout the evening. One thing I do recommend, though, you've got to make sure that you have got some high sugar content snacks available for when it gets a bit later, once you get past halftime. So you need the sweets, maybe not too much chocolate, because that can make you sleepy. And some just sort of snacky, crispy snacks to keep you going, and plenty of fizzy drinks, I feel. So yeah, that's how I'm doing it. Probably some nachos, maybe pizza, and then definitely some sugar.
I'm quite impressed with what you guys have come up with, really. I have no suggestions whatsoever. I eat whatever Mrs. Dixon makes me, and I'm completely happy with that. Usually it's cheesy nachos, or it's mini burgers. I'm really hoping, and I'm hinting for some ribs as well. Pretty much anything that these guys. Oh, and wings. Obviously, you can't go wrong with wings. And then there's deep regret around 3 o'clock in the morning for me eating all that food.
Well, and you've got to just be careful, haven't you? Because you don't, like you said, Sam, you don't want to be sending yourself to sleep, but you don't want to be eating too late, because when the game ends and you fall into bed, you don't want to be too full and then be lying there with like indigestion and still awake in the morning.
Like what's happened to celery? You can't go, like, honestly, for some reason celery works as little snack. With blue cheese. You see, that's why we're friends.
It's in the Hickory Super Bowl box, by the way. That very thing.
Yeah, that can be a decoration.
Like green on the plate. You're like, oh look, there's greenery here, so I'm being okay.
Yeah. I dot it around.
Balance.
It looks great for Instagram, but nothing else.
As we're giving shout outs, much love to Hard Rock Cafe for blessing me with a whole load of food that I feel I'm still full from last weekend. Definitely, you can check them out on Deliveroo and Uber Eats, and I think those are the two that they're on. Forgive me if I got that wrong. And then is it Hickory Smokes?
Hickory Smokehouse. If you can find them on Instagram, but they do a great Super Bowl box, and it comes with bibs as well.
You guys can feel free to be able to send me something too. I'm more than happy with that. Let me know before we start going to the shops and having to queue up for years to be able to get all the ingredients. I'm probably going to get ahead of myself and do that tonight, if anything. Guys, we've come to an end now. It's the last show before the Super Bowl. Obviously, next week we'll be back to be able to kind of give you guys our takes on the Super Bowl and what happened, and who got it right and who got it wrong. But until then, I'm sorry, this is the last one of the season, but you know what? At least we got Super Bowl, we got halftime food. Let's do it. Peace.
You seem like you're about to cry, Dre. Peace.
Yeah, I am.